first is kind of, anger, but somebody is saying that you are angry, but maybe I'm not angry, maybe I'm sad or upset, but I don't know how to name it. So once we know the varieties of more than 4,000 emotions, names are available, but we are not aware of it. But we can try to get at least 10 to 12 or 15, so that particular emotions what I'm right now, it may be happiness or maybe overjoy or maybe flooded by joy. I don't know. If somebody is going to ask you that, how are you? Good. I'm good. But how much good you are. I mean, you are loving your life or you are feeling beautiful, overjoyed. We don't know how to express. So I think it is very important to know our emotions with their name, and to realize that when we are feeling that, we can exactly apply our EI, which is emotional intelligence, to get to know that where we are, and this is right now I'm feeling. That is very important for our practices. Thank you.
Hmm. So, how do you think that emotional intelligence we can practice in every day? How necessary it is?
This is actually necessary, because there are certain questions I can take for example, that there are certain segments. Okay, if we can define it like positive outlook maybe, okay, or maybe emotional self awareness. So there are certain questions I'd like to share, if this is gonna help somebody. Like for emotional self awareness, if I can ask you all that, I understand how stress affects my mood and behavior. So how to answer? So there will be parameters, like you have to put marks, like from 5 to 0. Here 5 means always, and 0 means never, right? So from positive outlook, like I can say that I always look for the future with happy face. So here we can put parameters, right? So these are the few questions. More difficult questions like, I manage my stress very well. So how much marks you are going to put? Or maybe I use strong emotions such as anger, fear, joy for me and for others, right?
Yes, yes.
And maybe we can segment wise, we can say that adaptability, that this is very sensitive area, that everybody is getting scared of this, because while I'm using this all with many, the thing is, I'm flexible when situation changes unexpectedly. And the most of the answers will be never. No. Feeling
Yeah,
stress.
yeah,
so,
yes, of course.
so adaptability, how you are practicing, that means anything can't bother me, anything I'm okay. So this is, here comes the emotional agility, that
Uh,
based on my, if I know my emotions, if I know what is happening, if there are certain uncertainties also, I'm not going to stop anywhere, I can manage immediate. So there are certain practices, it will take the whole day. So let me stop here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much, Matre. Truda, what is your take on that?
What was the question again, Rashmi?
Is the emotional intelligence, or what is this? How we, like, you have been doing work on emotions. So we are trying to understand impact of emotions, emotional intelligence, how we can practice it every day, and why it is necessary to understand emotional intelligence in everyday life.
Okay, so you have emotional intelligence, you have feelings, and feelings lead to emotions. If we didn't have feelings and emotions, we wouldn't be alive. So for me, it is allowing allowing the feelings and emotions to flow through you, and to understand them, where they're coming from, what is the trigger, um, and not to suppress, because when you suppress, things have a tendency to come back later in life, and they come back so much bigger. So I think it was very interesting, what I think, Maitri, you said about children, right? So children, if we can teach children that it's okay to feel, and if we can teach them to put words on their anger or their sadness, if we can take the time to be there with them, they will have a much better emotional intelligence than how we were brought up. So I think with what we're doing here, we're very capable of doing that. So I'm doing it with my grandchildren, and my children are doing it to the same kids because they have learned. So, it's that communication, it's the giving the time. Yeah. Thank you, Rashmi.
Thank you. So, how does this understanding of emotional intelligence and our emotions actually helping us or impacting our emotional health? What would you define? How would you define what is emotional health and how it gets impacted? Yeah, wait, what would you like to say?
Okay, so emotional for me, when I hear emotional health, I think of the emotional well-being. Am I okay? Am I do I know what I'm feeling? And this all starts for me, it starts with self-awareness. And it's like listening to yourself. And if I feel disturbed, what is this emotion? Is it fear? Is it rejection? Is it frustration? So getting, as Maitri said, you have to identify, you have to name that emotion so that you can know what to do with it. And once that you know what to, you have identified it, and then you look inside yourself again. Why am I feeling this way? And why am I triggered? Why am I reacting this way? So these questions that you can ask yourself so that you can dig deeper to find out and understand, because the only way that you can understand is when you ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? And when this event happened to me, did I also feel that way? So all these emotions, when you say your emotional health, when you don't when you don't take time to understand it and to answer those questions, what happens is it's suppressed, it's hidden somewhere, it's swept under the rug. And it's not good, because when you the emotions are hidden and are hidden under or suppressed, it becomes something that is heavy in our chest, heavy in your mind. So it brings out stress, it brings out illness. So for me, emotional wealth, emotional health is being attuned with what you feel and knowing why you feel it, and then knowing what am I going to do about it. Do I need to go to a professional? Do I need to speak to my friends or a trusted person? So these are the things that could help for me. You're muted. Thank you,
Over to
Rashmi.
you, Matre. Thank you.
I'm sorry that if the noise is coming. I'm sorry.
No, 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 not
Okay.
no, no.
Okay. Yeah, ma'am, I would rather focus on few components of emotional intelligence where we can, work on, because every time we are talking about the problem, let us go with the solutions also. What I
Yeah.
feel. So it's all about, okay, fine, I'm feeling bad and I'm under stress and I don't know what to do. I don't know to whom to talk, but we can practice certain things. So there are certain components like empathy, like feelings for others, not feelings for others, because empathy means your pain is right now my pain. It's my pain, right? So I will act accordingly, right? Sharing empathy, one point. Number two is like self-awareness, as we are saying, that knowing one's emotions, strength as well as weakness also. Because we never thought about weaknesses. We always, thought about that you should be strong, you should be good, you sometimes you may be bad. It has not been taught. So it is a very, long gap that you may find that you are upset, you may find that maybe you are not okay, but it's okay not to feel okay. That is, we need to teach the children that it's okay sometimes to feel bad, sad, upset, or feel to cry. Don't cry. No, you can, you need to cry, right? Yeah, self regulations is another component that we can practice, like controlling my emotions. But if I know them, then only I can control, right? I'm right now impulsive, right? I need to do something, right now, and I just couldn't control, and then the regret will follow, and then the whole journey will be that, I don't know why I have done that. But important thing is, like, when my impulses are there, let me control and let me analyze whether I need to do this or not. That can be done through practices only, everyday small small practices, right? And many other companies, like social skills, that as we are talking, as we are sharing. So you may share your feelings with your closed one, or if they understand, it's okay. If they don't understand, it's okay, but both are okay. But social skills, I think, it's a huge support, like our group we are having, and it is really effective to get some desired direction, that I'm directionless and what I'm supposed to do. So I need to be open up to share, but I need to know first that where I am right now. Am I mad or sad or upset or anger or furious or what? So these are the practices we can do and we can share with the others. But most importantly, what I realized, that I need to connect myself first. And if I'm disconnected, then probably I don't able to get to know where I am and what my feelings are right now. Because every time we are directed by, are you sad, are you upset, I don't know whether I'm sad or upset or happy. Because just because I'm not expressing anything, if I'm smiling, then maybe I'm happy. If I don't smile, then maybe I'm sad. No, it's not. So just let not other decide your emotions, just be yourself and try to feel. But definitely it will take a practice, and not redirection but self direction. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matre. So, what I understood from you, their talk, that you wanted to be self-aware, to accept your emotions as they are, rather than trying to suppress them. And the one point you shared here, that to convey these to other people, to share your emotions with others, accepting and sharing. So, Truda, what is there that stops people to share their emotions? What are the hindrances they feel when they, like, specifically the negative emotions that they have, which is the harmful emotions? So why they do not share with each other, or what is the problem, and how can they be?
We don't share our feelings, our emotions, because we are afraid to be open and vulnerable, right? Sometimes also we don't need to share, let's say, negative or harmful emotions, because we can stop and pause, right? And think about them. Because if we know that we are impulsive, we can hurt other people in some way with what we say or with action. So I like what Yvette said, that the self-awareness of our emotions is very, very important. The acceptance of those emotions, and the fact that we don't need to control them. We need to manage them, so that we let them come up and flow through us, so they don't stay in our hearts and um, cause harm later on. So this is, for me, one thing that I really enjoy is something called mentalizing. Mentalizing is that we can, in a way, step outside and look at ourselves and ask the question, how am I thinking? What am I thinking? Where does this come from? Is it my thoughts, or is it my parents or my grandmother, that I inherited their thoughts and their beliefs and so on? So it's that distance from our own mind, so that we can reflect on what's going on. And another important thing is to, when you are with people and they are showing emotions, it's their emotions. They're not aimed at you. So don't take things personally. it belongs to them and they just need to vent. So it is that, because some, okay, I've lived in many cultures. So for example, Arabs are very hot-headed, right? And they, they blow up. But it's not meant at me, it sits with them. And it comes from their family, it comes from their culture, it comes from, all the influences that they have grown up with. So to be aware of all this, yeah, then you can step back and you can be calmer.
So, what are some of the most common emotions that actually impact us, our emotion, create emotional imbalance, impact our emotional health, and alongside the physical health also today? What do you
Okay,
think?
so one emotion that I find is extremely dangerous is shame.
Okay.
Shame is horrible because it destroys us inside. It locks us up. We don't then trust ourselves. We don't have, social interaction with other people because we are so afraid. So shame for me is a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. And for example, for parents to make their children feel shameful for anything at all, as opposed to the acceptance that, it's okay. I understand that you're angry. I understand that you started crying in class, for example, something happened. If we don't do that, they are more secure in who they are and they can trust themselves better. And therefore, they can be better towards other people as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a very valuable point you shared that shame is really very harmful emotion. And in the childhood, we see that most of the time, teachers, parents, we do not bother about that how shame we are actually feeling this, creating this feeling into the children. Matre, what do you think about this point that Chuda has brought into the discussion? And what other emotion you think that are dangerous?
Um, actually, actually, not to share about shame and insecurity. So recently, I'd like to share one story. One parents, they reached to us regarding their boy, that they're in. They were saying that my boy is in 10th standard and he doesn't have any interest in study. It was a simple statement for me, the way they have presented to me. And I said, okay, fine. Then what exactly you're looking for? They said that we want him to study, and 10th board exam, so lot to study, and I don't think concentration is there. So they have explained me a lot of parameters that because of laptop, because of iPad, because of games, and because of frames he's having, so it is happening. So it was all about accusation and complaint kind of. But when I got an opportunity to talk to that boy, you know what I found? I found that both the parents are working. They are leaving their home in the morning, 9, and they're coming back 8:30, 9 p.m. at night. The whole day, the boy had to attend his school alone, had to manage going by bus, coming by bus, and again the tuition they have started, again going, again coming back. And there is nobody to talk. And they have locked his phone and iPad inside the almirah. He can't even call. Now, the fuming part is the boy is saying who I am. Like, why I didn't ask for laptop and iPad. They have given me as a gift. Now they are taking them back because right now what is happening in WhatsApp, all the textbook teachers groups are there available. The boy is saying that maybe if I'm looking for some notes or some information, I can't. But while going to the tuition, I am helping, my friends are helping to get connected with they're sparing their mobile, so I'm using their phone. It is so bad. It is so, I mean, it is so painful. And the boy started crying. So I really touched my, like, I went mad. I like how to how to settle these things first. And slowly our journey has started. And the boy said, no, I said, see, if you are saying that you're okay with me, like we can talk, long. So he said, see, I know that, a number is important, but I said, no, number has not be a deal, that if you get this number, then your mobile and app will be yours, otherwise under lock and key. So they are dealing with the candidate, dealing with their students. I mean, the precious only one son, they were saying. And this kind of behavior, what do you think that it is going to help him one day if he is going to leave his parents in future? I know everybody knows that answer, that, we have done so many things for you. But what about the childhood pain? Who is going to share this pain with him? No one is there. He can't even connect with any friend. He can't talk. Study, study, study. This is not the way to study, right? So there are thousand things, like I'd like to. So I found the boys grumpy always. The name of the emotion I'd like to share about: grumpy, frustrated, devastated, annoyed, maybe disgusted. Like, he had lost his importance of studying and, getting or making career. What I mean, why should I do this? So these are all emotions what I'm sharing right now. These are under angry, but we only know the anger issues, right? Many more I can share, that irritated, offended. So what I'm trying to say, that every individual, they're having their self-respect. If we don't respect them, whether it's a month-old baby or newborn baby, the sense of self-respect is there with each and everybody, starting from month baby to septuagenarian and senior people. But we don't realize that. We just taking actions without any hesitation, and we don't feel that it is going to make them really, offer them really a bad experience in their life. And probably, and there are a lot of stories actually, lot. So
Yes,
probably the people are coming to me like 48, 49 years old. Now they have realized they are the surgeon, they're the doctors and engineers. Like sudden I started feeling shivering. I don't know why. So I got to know, and he went faint actually. So he went to the medical doctors, and doctors has given prescribed stress medicine. But he also said that go and talk to some professional. So he came, and 49 years old, a big reputed IT company person. I did ask, what is your favorite food? He said, I don't know. Since childhood, somebody has offered something and I had it. I said, at least one. He couldn't say. So accumulation is all, journey. It is not good. It is not good. Thank you.
yes, yes, absolutely. Because it's all accumulation from the past events, and so in the same way, I will come to you it for the same question, that how the what are the dangerous uh, feelings and emotions that we have in ourselves. We can, as an adult or as a child, we create in children. What is your take, and how can we recognize, see the symptoms that our emotional health is getting impacted now, ourselves as well as for others?
Yeah. Uh, First of all, so when while Matthew was telling that story, what came to mind was when we have physical ailment, like for example, uh, somebody broke his leg, so we go to the doctor. But when somebody feels sad or depressed, you say, "Oh, that's nothing. Shake it off." So do you tell that also to the person who broke his leg? "Oh, that's nothing. Shake it off." No, right? So that is how I saw, even for myself, that emotions are just put in one side. Ah, that will go away. Don't mind that. So with that, from childhood, if you have not learned to understand your emotion, and then it would be like, what am I doing? Why am I so confused? And so you go with, I feel happy with this. So this is where you will go. And then without even understanding the suppressed anger, the suppressed emotions, like for example, there's resentment, there's loneliness, there's rejection, and all these kinds of emotions. So um for me in our country, what I have here most of the time that I see among the students that I get to talk with, the emotion of rejection. It's
Okay.
when their teachers tell them you did not do a good job, or no, this they pour their mind, their time, their energy in doing a homework, and then they will be compared to another classmate, and then they will be told that it is not good enough. So there's rejection. And what is this emotion for them? So they will look, oh, because you're bad, because you're this. And then there's no anchor of who they really are, because even the parents, not all parents understand themselves as well. There's no self-awareness. So if there's nothing, and so what can they give? So they're also like a blind leading the blind. And so that's so important that in talks like this, we get to talk about self-awareness, emotional intelligence, how to get it, where to get it, what to do about it, and that we're just not only taking care of our physical needs, but our emotional needs, and they're very important. And so rejection like that. And what I also learned from my research about rejection, how can you deal with rejection, is that you look again inside what is good in me. And we have this anchoring technique of the five things that I see around me, the four things that I hear, and then the three things that I can touch or feel, and then the two things that I can smell, and then the one thing that I love about myself. That's one way of also countering rejection. And yeah, and there's also loneliness. You know, loneliness is really, I mean, for me, loneliness is deadly. I felt that for a friend who was very lonely. There was no reason to live, and she just cannot explain why she is feeling that. And she is not putting herself anymore in social activities, in social gatherings. And then she just died of a broken
Oh,
heart and a heart attack. Yeah, that loneliness led to her death. Nobody understood her. Nobody gave her time. And when she was already in the hospital, it was too late. And those are the emotions that if we don't really address them, we don't, even if we see in people, in our friends, we have to see the red flags in our students, in our colleagues. We have to be conscious. That's where empathy comes in. Yeah. And so self-awareness is very important. Know yourself. So
so with
thank you,
this,
Rashmi.
thank you. Thank you. With this, I would like to ask you that most of the time we see the symptoms or something happening very late in,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll come to your question, sir. So, like when we say that, what are the initial symptoms we come to recognize when it is almost too late? The emotional health has been deteriorated too much. What are
Mm,
the some of the initial symptoms that we can detect in ourselves as well as in others that something is going wrong with the person? Like you said
mm,
about loneliness, you
yeah,
felt how you can recognize that someone is feeling lonely initial stage when you are able to help the other person or yourself as a because what are the ways or the
yeah,
symptoms.
yeah. So there's this pattern for where you are okay, and then where you are coping, and then where there's stress. And there's the good stress where you are motivated, this stress that keeps you moving, and this stress, the other stress that makes you feel down. And then when there's no more stress, but you still have anxiety, So when you get to that point of anxiety, there's no more stress, but you're still anxious. There's still palpitation in your heart. You're still worrying in your head. So you have to be mindful of that. And then after that, if you don't mind that, it could lead to panic attack, or it could lead to depression. And then also, what also we can see among friends or even in ourselves is a change of our mood. Yeah, it's like extreme mood swings. There's persistent sadness, irritability, and then there's withdrawal when you isolate from people, the social media, from your friends and family. And then there's also the change of the sleep when there's insomnia. Then find out, why can I not sleep? I'm thinking so much. There's rumination. And so there's when there's insomnia, there's also sometimes change of appetite. Either you overeat or you don't eat at all. And then there's, of course, at work, there's decreased performance in school, academic failings. So these are symptoms like, oh, this student used to be very good in these grades, but now there's something wrong. So those are things. And then, of course, the almost extreme is neglect of personal hygiene. You don't comb your hair, you don't take a bath, you don't care about your body anymore. And then there's increased worry when you always think like, um, how's tomorrow? And then there's going to be anxiety. I have palpitation, cold hands, sweatiness. And then there's always like when there's already anxiety, there's already difficulty in concentrating. And of course, when there's difficulty in concentrating, there's reduced ability to understand things. And then, of course, the physical symptom is there. It's that, don't wait for that, because that's the time that you really need to go to the hospital. But what I also noticed with this, personally, from with this friend of mine, um it's so important to communicate. It's so important to ask the people, like, for example, you have this feeling that, oh, I'm gonna call up this person. Call, because sometimes that may be the time that that person needs somebody to talk.
Truda, what is your take on that?
So what was the question again?
The, the question was that when we have these early symptoms of these harmful impacts, emotional imbalance, because so most of the time we detect these things when it is too late. We go to the physical symptoms. So, what are the early detection in ourselves as well as in others? Because as far as we parents and teachers, it's important to detect these symptoms early into the children and to our colleagues or whosoever we come in contact with. And
It's a very, very broad question, because a lot of people who end up lonely have personality disturbances within themselves. So they alienate themselves from other people by anger, by blaming, by demands, and they don't know it because it's a disturbance for them. And this, you can't change other people, you can only change yourself, right? So if people that are like that would be more open and not feel shameful of themselves, and not blame the world around them, but start to realize how they are, they could combat it themselves. But for us, so say, what Yvette said, that people, they don't stop taking care of themselves, they maybe stop calling, and they sort of become more introverted. um, and for us that are not lonely, to not be afraid to reach out, because very often we are afraid to reach out because we don't want to take on a burden of somebody else, because someone else who is lonely, very often they blame the world around them and they don't look into themselves. So it's a very, 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 it's social awareness. Let's open our eyes and look at people around us. I mean, you walk in the street, for example, and we emit energy. All of us, we emit energies. So when you are okay in yourself and you smile at people, sometimes they're shocked and sometimes they just smile back. And that could be the one thing in a day that keeps a person up. It's like, oh, she saw me. She actually smiled at me. So it's just by being more open and more generous within ourselves, we can do a lot. But to discover loneliness and leading to depression and so on, it's not easy.
Mhm. So one question is there, the person I would like to like the loneliness to aloneness. So how do you define that there is a difference between these two terms? And of course, loneliness is something negative, but how can a person who is aware that getting lonely can come out of and become alone? So first of all, I would like to know the definition, how we define loneliness and how we define aloneness. Truda.
So aloneness is something that you decide to be, right?
Yeah.
You decide to be alone because you're okay alone. You don't need to have people to entertain you. You're totally fine occupying yourself. And then you reach out when you want people around you. Loneliness could be, could be when you would like other people to, in a way, entertain you, and you don't have the ability to entertain yourself, to find interest, and to go outside of yourself. I don't know how else to sort of.
Yvette, how do you explain it? And how a person who is feeling loneliness can change this loneliness into aloneness? Like, how can we learn to entertain ourselves as Truda explained right now?
Yeah. Yeah, as Jude said, alone is a choice of being by yourself, and that you can manage yourself and that you're okay and you have the choice. I could meet somebody else or I can, you have that choice. But when you're lonely, it's an emotion of feeling like nobody's there for you. And that sometimes it would start from a victim mindset that nobody understands me. Nobody wants to help me. And that is very deep because if we will go through, it has something to do with what happened in the past, how the person was raised, what happened, or all this. There is so much that has happened to a person to become lonely. And when I'm thinking of loneliness, it's sometimes also not doing something. For example, I was not able to call my daughter, and it made me so lonely because we were not able to get in touch in the past because of we had no internet, because there was typhoon here in the country, and so I was not able to get in touch with my daughter, and it made me feel so lonely. But it made me aware. If you are self-aware, it's like, hey, don't go into that negative thinking, because when you're lonely, the tendency is, okay, I'm going to have negative thoughts. I wonder how she is. Is she okay? Is she busy? Did she get home safely? And all these things. And it's not helpful because it's making me worry. And at the same time, there's also that other side of, did she forget about me? Did she forget to call me? Did she forget to message me? And it's entering your mind. And if you entertain that, that would lead to that loneliness. So you really have to be self-aware. It has to be like, okay, wake up, wake up, wake up. Don't do that. Look outside. And then, like what Truth said a while ago, you get out of your own mind and look from another perspective. Why am I thinking that way? Why are these negative thoughts coming? And so it has to come again with self-awareness. So self-awareness is very powerful. So if we can share this to our children, so that they can also know when they have friends who are not sharing the same things, or maybe they went to a place and then they will feel alone, like, Do my friends still like me? And I feel lonely, and that's where all the insecurities come in. Whereas if we teach our children self-awareness, they will be aware that, hmm, I am feeling that way. And then I am not, I'm okay. I will just let that feeling. So I have this rain. I will recognize that feeling. I will attend to that feeling. Like I will hug myself, or I will understand that feeling. But I will not identify with that feeling. That loneliness, that's not me. Okay. It's a feeling. And then nurture yourself. So that is the way to combat any kind of negative emotion, especially loneliness. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. Wonderful sharing. So now, because we have talked about the most important thing is that people want to know that how they can keep a good emotional health. What are the things they can do on a regular basis that will help them to stay emotionally a healthy person and not to go into much of emotional imbalance. Though our life is such that we have to there are a lot of challenges going around us everywhere in every field, whatever our age is, whatever our field is. So we cannot avoid that. But we can learn some of the techniques and tools which can help us to stay, control our emotions. So Matre, I would like to start with you. If you can give me two, three tools like that with our audience that who can check and remain, you know, uh, keep a check on their emotional health as well as they can maintain emotional health.
Thank you. Yeah, this is such a beautiful questions. Mm, the way I'm doing, I've gone through a lot of pain at a very early age, but I never realized that how, these are like haunting me. I didn't understand, but sometime it happens. Like when I'm feeling like no one is at home, and I can recall those incidents, like death of my parents and how the phases were like. So that phase is when I feel like, almost helpless. So how I am, channelize my energy, and how I'm coming back to the main part. So for this, we need to know our point of anchor, as Vibhiti said, that uh, you are oneself, and you are playing different roles, like as a teacher, as a mom, as a father, as a brother, as a grandmom, several roles. But you allow yourself to go and play that role, but you need to come back to your own point. And how frequent you can do this. And this is the only one tool where maybe it is going to help many people, that is practicing mindfulness. But how? This is very common term, practice mindfulness, but how? So there are a few tools, very easy tools. uh, Make time for your emptiness. Here I'm going to take a little help from physics, like when we are saying that we are living beings and we are all made of proton, right, and atoms. So atoms means every living beings are carrying atoms. So I would like to request all of you that expand yourself. You just try to be your no self zone. That means you are the sea, you are the mountain in a bigger perspective. Expanded yourself, like you are not only yourself, but the entire world is your family. So sometimes this kind of family, this kind of thought, it will allow you to expand your consciousness and apply yourself to in a bigger universe. So our concentration from self to no self zone, there will be an easy journey, that when I'm thinking about my own worries, no, it's okay. I mean, there are other people are suffering, so let me think about them, right? And many small practices I'd like to share, that first foundation has to be in a proper way, like preparing your morning coffee or tea. So we can practice it in a mindful way, that taking sugar and pouring hot water, and we are taking time, not that I need to go. So just offer you can yourself 5 minutes or 2 minutes. We can do this, right? It's a simple practice, okay? And while preparing coffee, you just think that I know my day is long and it's gonna be long, but can I offer sometimes like I let me leaving my home. I need to leave right now, so let me gather all my gadgets like pen, notepad, all I need to be in a proper place so that when I can return back, I can get a good place to sit and enjoy my time. So these are the small practices like making a line of your shoes. It may be weird, but that time, what time you are devoting while you are in a hurry, settling down, lining your shoes, it will take hardly few seconds, but it will offer you a state of disciplined mind so that your mind will never move here and there. It will be focused. So many practices are there that jot down your points, like when you are feeling that uneasiness, or you just write it down, but doesn't matter that you're going to save it or read it again and again. Let it be. You just forget about where you wrote, but it is just when vacuum. So emptiness is very important, that don't need to carry every time which has not happened or which has happened. There is no mandatory that you have to carry all this. Okay. Yeah, free yourself and live happily. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maitre. Hitesh said you raised your hand. I think you would like. I Do you have any question or you have something to share?
Yeah, ma'am, it was not a question. Already, Maitri has explained well. So
Okay.
I'm thankful to one and all, really. But sometimes I feel uh, little bit completely like as already the Yate ma'am told, um, we realized something completely helpless. Okay, and at that time, how to convert that aloneness, and some of the tools already Maitri has discussed. I will try my level best to come up with the small deeds. Let me try. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks so much. And really, I'm thankful to all, one and all. Really, it is. I'm a bit late to join this, but I have enjoyed. Really, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir, for joining. Even what are you would like to share? One of the two techniques that can help people uh, remain emotionally healthy.
For me, gratitude is really a big thing. So, gratitude journal is something that I always recommend. Every day, when before you sleep, just write something, anything that you're thankful for. If you can write five, then that's wonderful. If you can write only one, that's all right. There's no rule for that. But every day, write something that you are thankful for, because that way you make your neural pathways focus more on gratitude. And when that happens, it's really it's like changing, shifting the mindset from that negativity to become so positive. And so for me, gratitude, and of course self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Like you would be kind to a friend. So sometimes we are so hard on ourselves. When we make mistakes, we tell ourselves, oh, because you're so stupid, because you're doing this, because you're that. But then when your friend makes a mistake, that's all right. You can learn from this, but not to ourselves, right? So self be kind to yourself. And then that's it. Gratitude and self-compassion for me. The two things.
Thank you, Yvette. Truda, what is your take for that? What you say?
Good one. I like those, Yvette. I mean, the gratitude, just an easy thing is to where where are your thoughts going? Where is your focus? Okay. Do you focus on what you don't have, or do you focus on what you do have? So that's just a little shift. Let me focus on what I do have. Okay, so I wrote a list here. Okay. We are responsible for ourselves only, except kids, right? When you have, we are not responsible for other people. Other people are responsible for themselves. Be aware of blame and be aware of demands from other people. Because when you demand and want from other people, you are bound to be disappointed. When you assume that somebody will call you, or when you assume whatever it is, you're bound to be disappointed. So just be aware of assumptions, blame, and demands. Don't take things personally. Don't long for things in the future, because then your mind is in the future that hasn't happened yet. You have no idea. It's magical thinking. Try not to focus in the past, because the past has already happened, right? You did the best you could with what you knew back then. Today, we know better, right? And it's so easy to say, I should have, I should have, I should have. No, 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 no. You did the best you could. So give yourself a good pat on the shoulder and just accept, I know better now, so I don't, need to do mistakes or whatever. Don't compare yourself with others, right? And yeah, focus, awareness of thoughts, and helpless. Because Hitesh said that, when you're feeling helpless, just close your eyes and think of what you do have, not what you don't have, what you do have. So it goes towards, I don't like the word positive thinking, but I like to focus on what is there. And what do you have? You have your life. Hopefully you have your health. Hopefully you have children. So when you start in that, then you change your neural pathways, like Yvette said. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, very beautiful point. Anybody else has any question? Will you please? Yeah, welcome. I know it's a little bit longer, but we can have devote 5-10 minutes for the questions. Thank you, Hitesh sir. Abdullah sir, would you like to have? Do you have something to say or to ask a question? So, if I would like to ask a question here, which comes to my mind, that sometimes, yes, every person makes a mistake, or to we ourselves sometimes feel responsible for creating a mess sometimes, and sometimes we are the victims of the other person's, you know, mess and whatever they did to us. So, at that time, I feel that how it's difficult to forgive neither to the other person and not to yourself sometimes. So, how do you think it impacts our emotional health, and what is the way we can forgive ourselves?
Okay, so
Anyone
I'm
can,
going
huh?
to answer.
Yeah,
I'm
please
going to answer
answer.
this one first, because when you hang on to negative feelings like blame and anger, right, and revenge,
Mm.
you're not hurting anybody else, but you're hurting yourself. So forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. So when you think, if somebody does something to you, and you think that that person doesn't know how to self-regulate, that person doesn't know how to express him or herself, in you create compassion within yourself for that person. And then when you know that that person's anger is not aimed at you, it's actually aimed at him or herself. So it's that switch of thinking. Everybody is responsible for themselves and their own behavior, not to take things personally, and don't hang on to toxic, beliefs or feelings, because you're only hurting yourself. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Twitter. Yvette, what would you say?
Yeah, just like Trude said, forgiving releases us of the emotional burden of hanging on to a grudge. And that is not even helping our heart, not even helping our mind. It's making us sick. And it's I read one time, I read something like, when you're not forgiving a person, it's like letting your enemy control your own mind. So imagine that. It's so hard. So why keep it? And so when you forgive, you are able to allow yourself to live fully in the present, because you're forgetting the past and you're not going to think of the future about revenge, but you're living in the present fully. And that's really beautiful for your person, because that's when you grow.
Thank you, Yvette. Matri, do you have something to say?
Yeah, based on your question, I'd like to share that everybody is having good side and bad side. Even we all are. So my mom used to say that don't look at the bad side.
Mm.
Only if you can get the good side, it's okay. And here it comes the emotional agility that if I confront myself with the negativity, what happened to me from by somebody, uh, there is no need to carry. Like, forgiving self and others is okay because maybe that person is carrying other good qualities too. So we are not going deeper, and overall we are just judging that something he has done and he or she is bad, or I'm not going to talk, or I'm not going to forgive. That's not okay. I think that's not fair, right? So offering a chance to self and rather challenge that how you are more strong in your emotional agility to practice every day to face all this negativity, all this things are happening around you, and how you make yourself more content and composed. So go with the good things. That's it. Simple. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And I especially thank Chuda, Yvette, and Matri to be with us and to support this effort or our wish that we want to help people into becoming live a emotionally healthy life in today's turbulent time. Thank you so much, everyone, and all the participants who have been there to support us. The group people, many of them have actually left it because of the time paucity. So we look forward to the next episode of our something which we come up for the emotional well-being of the people. Thank you so much. Now it's the time to take a leave.
Uh,
Thank you, everyone.
thanks,
Thank you, Tita. Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you.
thanks so much, ma'am. Rasmi,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
today,
Thank
yeah,
you.
all one and all. Thank you, thank
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for hosting, Rashmi. Excellent.
you.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Thank,
Yeah.
yeah, excellent, excellent.
Thank you,
Really,
Rashmi.
thank
she is
you.
trying to push everybody, but
Thank,
unfortunately, we are not communicating properly to our friends and circles.
yes,
Really,
yes.
ma'am, I'm
Mm.
really waiting for the next session and
Thank
whatever.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you, sir.
thanks.
I will
Thank
look
you.
forward to your suggestions of the topics that we can take to in our
Definitely.
webinars. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Maitri. Thank you,
Thank you.
Rashmi.
Bye
Thank
bye.
Thank
you.
you,
Good night.
Thank
everyone,
you.
for
Bye.
listening.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
Zubaida.
everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.
This is Zubaida.